Rugby League's newest tournament was the Federation Shield, a 3-week tournament involving 4 teams, England, France, Samoa and Tonga. England favourites made it through to the final, played here at Widnes Holton Stadium. They were to play the outsiders, Tonga, in the very first Federation Shield final. Let's have a look at how both teams lined up. For England, their fullback from Wigan, Chris Ashton. The wingers, David Hodgson and Mark Calderwood. The centres, Ryan Atkins and Rob Purdom, who was skipper. Paul Cook partner Jamie Rooney in the halves. Forward pack then for England, Ryan Bailey and Earl Crabtree. Ashley Gibson playing out of position at hooker. Lee Radford alongside Jamie Jones-Buchanan in the second row. And Brett Ferris at loose forward. And for England coming off their bench, Lee Smith, Ewan Dowes, Graham Horn and Nick Scruton, coached by Paul Cullen. For Tonga then, at fullback, Fetuli Talanoa, the wingers, Marcassini, Richter and Tyron Smith. Taniele Tuiaki in the centres alongside Lalia Pea, Folletti Matteo and Wasili in the halves. The forward pack for Tonga then, their starting props, very big. Solomon Hamono, captain with Thui Moi Moi. Kimiwasi at hooker, Lapini Pea and Richard Fa'oso in the second row, Willie Tupou at loose forward. On the bench then for Tonga, Mickey Pea, Joel Tafo, Simi Foliaki and Joel Falamaka. They are coached by Jim Demick. Let's see how all the action unfolded. And your commentary team headed up by Bill Arthur.
Richard Silverwood is in charge of this one. He's had a great domestic season. Referee of the year at the Man of Steel's night in Manchester last month. And rounding off his domestic season anyway. And this the last big game of the British domestic season. And it has been such a long year for these players. When you think that pre-season training started about a year ago, and in fact I think a lot of clubs are back in pre-season training tomorrow, aren't they?
Yes, we are. We're at Wakefield, and there's Tony's Harlequins. They've already started. I believe they already have at Wigan as well, Bill.
So there's no rest for them, but it would be good for the English players to round off this season with another trophy victory as Chris Ashton gets us underway here. As Chris Warren was saying, the rain has relented. It's a pleasant afternoon now. It's still no great breeze blowing here at the Holton Stadium as Tonga have possession early on. It's Kimiwasi who will be the real linchpin for them, the number 9, very busy player. But you can expect plenty of fire and brimstone from these guys, like Richard Fa'oso taking the ball up there. They pride themselves on the physicality of their game. And that is, I think, what England are going to have to cope with early on.
It certainly is. A good first 4 tackles there for the Tongans, almost to the halfway line before they put the kick in. They'll be very happy with that as a first set of 6. You receive the kick off and you turn the ball over 15 metres away from the opposition line. Excellent kick there by the standoff, but superb work there by the Tongan forwards to take them forward.
Folletti Matteo who put the kick in. Now with the Parramatta Eels, former London Bronco, and has already won one significant title this year, won the reserve grade grand final with his club. So the first touch of the ball for England now. And they know they've got their work cut out from the previous meeting. Okay, the scoreline looks convincing, but they certainly had to work hard for that. And Jamie Jones-Buchanan having to work hard there to get any forward ground. Lapini Pea with the tackle. Here's Earl Crabtree, and saw Earl Crabtree saying during the week that he was ready for some physical confrontation. He knew what he was up against here.
Well, I don't think he'd be disappointed, Bill. There's no doubt about that. They're putting numbers in the tackle and they're being very physical in the collision.
The first thing this set has shown us that Ashley Gibson, you just see there a dummy half in 9, is going to play the dummy half role from hooker. He switched from centre. It's a nice completion to the first set from England as well, and a great show offside.
Oh, they're offside. Yeah, Calderwood too quick off the mark, I think, there.
But Bill, I was saying there with Ashley Gibson, I'm not sure about that. A centre for the first time switching over. It looks like he was...
A good decision, I think, there, yep, Tony, because Jamie Rooney was stood behind his forwards, giving him a bit of protection there, and Calderwood was just in the line pushing up. So Mr. Silverwood performing as he does in Super League.
Well, Paul Cullen was saying during the week that Ashley Gibson had to fill in that role. Matt Diskin obviously struggling with this knee problem, and Gibson filling in very well for him in that position.
Bill, the problem with it is the hooker touches the ball more than anybody. And so it's not only about the pass, the confidence of the forwards to hit the ball at full pace, the confidence of the call. It's going to have an impact. I'm just not convinced myself that as the game goes through, particularly a rep football, maybe in a club game when everybody knows the rhythms, but when you're trying to find your combinations, anyway, such a big adjustment could be impactful in this game.
That's great defence from England, and Lapini Paya has coughed up possession there.
Yeah, it's good work there, wasn't it? It was the hooker there, Gibson, who we've been debating. Really with a good shot there. Ratford coming in as a second man, and it really was a defensive win there. Peer with the error, and let's see England with good ball position. Let's see what they can do from this.
Cook. Here is Chris Ashton, who's had a tremendous Federation Shield so far. Paul Cullen defending his unbeaten record, and the penalty goes England's way. An interference there from Taniela Tuaki.
I'm sure Paul Cook will just put it into the sideline there. Yes, his hand in there. First tackle. So Paul Cook now he's dabbed it into the touch. 15 metres away from the Tongan line. Great opportunity for England.
Jamie Jones-Buchanan takes it just up to that Tongan 10-metre line, and again interference at the play the ball that time, and it was William Tupou, I think, and Jamie Jones-Buchanan just reacted a little bit, and so...
Yeah, it was a silly reaction that. Is it the penalty's been given? So let's just get on with the game. You've got them under the cosh. You're right sat 10 metres away from the Tongan line. Why cause this interference? Why cause this breakage in play? The penalty's been given. I'm very disappointed with the reaction there from Jamie Jones-Buchanan, because it'll just allow the Tongans to regroup and set the defensive line.
Well, I'm not sure what Folletti Matteo was doing stepping in there, and I think Richard Silverwood has had a word with him as well.
There was a slight reaction to the hint of a headbutt there. I don't think it was, but just looked at it a little bit. Jamie Jones-Buchanan may have lent into the player.
He's got to let the referee, Tony, hasn't he? He's to get on with his job, which is playing the game. The referee's job is to control the game.
Well, it still means that the penalty is with England, and Earl Crabtree trying to use his strength to get closer to that line and succeeding. Just a couple of metres short as Gibson pops it up. But good defence from the Tongans, right on their own try line. Solomon Hamono leading the way. Cook spins it wide. Ferris, he's going towards that touchline, he's in touch, and that's great defence from the Tongans. Richard Fioso involved there, and Lalela Paya as well.
They'll be absolutely delighted, won't they? It was a slow play, the ball, so that meant when the ball was transferred left to right, it allowed the Tongan defence to come up the line and out and push Ferris towards the sideline, and they'll really be heartened by that, the Tongans. Great piece of online defence.
The rain may have gone away for the moment, but the effects are clearly on the grounds. I think all players take the tip on that one. You don't want to be getting sort of that 5 or 6 metres near the sideline and taking any risk, because you're going to go over. We've seen a couple of unforced errors too. We're going to see a few of those in the game. The testing now will be the reaction to those errors. Can you complete your next set, which is a big challenge here from Tonga. They've come up with an error and a couple of penalties against. They need to keep it simple here. This is a great play from Big Solomon Hamono.
Tiaki runs into Rob Purdom, and they managed to halt that attack, but just for a moment when Hamono slipped that pass away to Taniela Tuaki, it was looking threatening. Oh, and then they coughed possession up. And that is their Achilles heel, I think. Their ball control not the best.
Yeah, Bill, sorry, John, but particularly after big plays, you see the offload, you see the bit of razzle-dazzle, and then they get overexcited, overcook on the next play, and they seem to come up with errors, and they just need to be able to complete that set. So now we've seen 2 errors and 2 penalties inside of the last few sets for them.
Yeah, I think England just to be patient, Bill. What they've got to do is play field position rugby. Put it in the Tongan 20 and throw them the challenge of repeatedly bringing it out from their own red zone.
Purdom taking the tackle, Rooney now. And Radford with that thigh heavily strapped. Vigorous defence from the Tongans, and Ryan Bailey will take him on up the middle. Great Britain international, of course, very experienced. His star has slipped a little bit in the last season. He could do with a big Federation Shield final. That's a good ball from Cook, finding Ryan Atkins. What a start to the competition he made with that hat-trick last weekend. Here goes Cook. Cook stabs a little kick in, it's been missed. The ball will pop up for Rooney. Oh, and Rooney's knocked it on. Well, the mistake from the Tongans, who didn't gather possession, and it looked as though it was there on a plate for Jamie Rooney.
Yep, Definite knock on there. Mr. Silverwood's got that, but England will be heartened that that's a clever play from Paul Cook there, just dribbling the ball along the ground, cause all sorts of trouble, and that's England's. The tactics are there for them. Get up into the Tongan half, ask them to bring it out. If they make errors, just turn the screw.
Tonga haven't managed to get out of their own half in the last 5 minutes or so. They've committed the errors, and that's forced them onto the back foot, but England haven't been able to take advantage of those.
Well, Bill, it's not going to be won in the first 5 minutes, is it? You've just got to be patient.
Hamono takes the tackle, dumped on his back, but good work there from Jamie Jones-Buchanan. He's lost the ball again.
Bill, John, sometimes you can't win the game in the first 5, but you can lose it if you're not careful, and this is where Tonga is at the moment. They just need probably a couple of dummy half carries from their backs now. They've relied on their big forwards to play with a bit of power. It's a bit predictable. And those same forwards are the ones coming up with errors, Solomon Hamono and Fui Moiwi, the last 2 errors. So perhaps the other guys have got to get in and give them a bit of a hand. But here's a big set for England. This is a big chance for them to start the game as they want.
Ashton and Rooney doing the run around, and Ashton doing well to get out of trouble from Tyrone Smith. Goes across the field, finds David Hodgson. First touch of the ball, I think, for David Hodgson. He comes back towards the middle, and then he's gobbled up by Richard Fioso. Ashley Gibson doing well. Fioso went high, and the Leeds man felt that, I think. Rooney almost through, needed a good tackle. But this is threatening. Cook manages to retain possession, but he does get the ball away. I thought he was all wrapped up there, and Gibson goes across the field. Great pass, could be a chance here for Hodgson. Hodgson in the corner. Now then, the Tongans are feeling that he was in touch, but David Hodgson, very experienced winger, knows his way to the try line, but Richard Silverwood says we'll have a look with the video ref, and Jerry Kershaw will have a look at that. And I think it's the grounding he wants to look at.
I just think he's clearing everything up, is Richard Silverwood, so nothing can be left to doubt, and David Hodgson's doing a real good job there.
He's
out of bounds.
Touch.
Out of bounds. Good decision by Mr. Silverwood to go to the video referee. That will be no try. Right foot on the sideline. Great effort by David Hodgson, but not quite good enough. Scrum, Tonga head and feet, no doubt about it.
It's no try on this occasion, that's for sure. I think they might keep going there. Tyrone Smith in the left centre, terrific defender, just jumping out and putting pressure on. Richter on the wing outside, who's giving him a bit of space, but if that continues to go on in the game, it'll be something that might just be worth persisting for Purdham and Hodgson on that right-hand side for England.
Paul Cullen be encouraged, though. Good pressure from his England side. David Hodgson, who played for Great Britain in their warm-up game against Newcastle a few weeks ago before the Tri-Nations started, and lucky really to miss out because there was some doubt over the fitness of Brian Carney, and Stuart Reardon stayed on out there. He's been sent home now, and ironically Brian Carney's hamstring has flared up again.
Well, there's one thing about David Hodgson. Billy had a superb Super League season last year, didn't he? And he caused trouble every time that he fielded kicks, and his kick return play is absolutely first class, and that was demonstrated last week against Samoa when he and Chris Ashton did his perfect play to score. But the Tongans, once again an error, deep inside their own half.
This is just poor play from Tonga here. They're putting a challenging line in wet conditions, challenging pass, right at the line. That just needed a dummy half carry, another dummy half carry and a kick, put the game back into England and see if they can come off their own end.
Well, they've only put boot to ball once, Tony, haven't they, Tonga, so they really aren't completing the sets at all.
Purdham, straight up the middle from the England captain. A little bit of interference there from the Tongans. And Richard Silverwood barking out instructions from Radford. Does well to offload, great offload. Surely Hodgson will be in this time. He won't, but Purdham will. Great one-handed try scoring there from Rob Purdham because he was under pressure, he was heading for the sidelines, but he stretched out, and the Cumbrian gets England on the scoreboard. And eventually Tonga just made one too many error.
Yeah, yes, we see here the knock-on. And as we said before, they've tried that, they're playing at the line too much, putting too much pressure on. There was a lovely little offload here from Lee Radford, and then quality play from David Hodgson. Spotted Purdham on the inside, and my word, that's a real captain's knock. Just watch how Rob Purdom finishes this try. There's created Radford, quick hands out to Hodgson, but look at the carry that he cares there. Absolutely superb try.
Fantastic leadership, and this is a result of pressure. It's only one play, but it was actually a result of probably about 20 plays before that, but Tonga kept coming up with errors, worked down that right-hand side. I'm going to give Ashley Gibson a quick little plug there. I said he's going to be under a bit of pressure playing at hooker. That was fantastic support play from him just to get there and pop the ball up. But this man, Rob Purdom, what a fantastic month he's having. He's been superb for England. He's captaining them in this very important final. Got engaged during the week. Sarah, a great choice again from him from Purdo, so he's having a terrific month. Great kick, Jamie Rooney.
Rooney slotted that one from the sidelines, and the pressure pays. His 16th success of this Federation Shield competition. Rob Purdom getting his 3rd try of the contest. He is really versatile. He's playing in, I think, his 3rd different position in this competition.
Yeah, he's played centre, he's played stand-up, and he's played loose forward. And every time he plays it, that kid, you get the best every week in, week out, a consistent performer.
Yeah, I just hope he's rewarded for this. I think down the line we're going to see him playing for Great Britain, and we'll certainly see him at a World Cup. He's really stood up and really shown out in this tournament.
Etu Wasile, well, he curses himself then, but he was just...
Well, he pushed him.
Hurtling into the tackle on Crabtree and then didn't want to let go.
Exactly. What can he expect? Crabtree's trying to regain his feet. We didn't see it so well there, but he pushed him in back play. And he's made Mr. Silverwood's decision very easy for him.
Yeah, it's funny, in rugby league we often talk about completing your sets in attack. Well, you know, sometimes you've got to complete your sets in defence as well, and we've seen Tonga now come up with, I think the last 3 defensive sets have come up with penalties. Now that was a set where they had to complete it, not give away a penalty, make England get to a kick, and they haven't done that.
Here's Lee Radford, just over the Tongan 40-metre line, and England threatening again. Ryan Bailey. Bailey fends off one, keeps Hamono at bay. That's good work from the Leeds prop. Ashley Gibson. Here's Rooney. Rooney will put the kick in, and Hodgson chasing for all he's worth. He could win this race. There's a bit of a tangle there, but the full-back for Tuli Talanoa gets there first and just manages to defuse the situation there, but at the expense of a drop out underneath his own posts.
Yeah, marvellous pressure rugby league this is. Early in the tackle count, Rooney sees the wingman up, puts the ball behind him. He did pretty well, the fullback, didn't he? Talanoa there, the South Sydney player. But great chase there by Hodgson.
Instructions from Jim Dimmock. It's going to be an expensive phone bill if that call's going via Tonga. It's Paul Cook. Here's Crabtree. Hurtling back there. How long before Earl Crabtree makes the step up? He's winning his 9th England cap this afternoon. Great Britain next, perhaps, for the big Huddersfield man. I know his coach John Sharp is hoping that he'll get recognition soon. Jamie Jones-Buchanan plays that ball. Here's Brett Ferris, Wakefield bound. He'll be at training tomorrow, will he?
No, I think he'll be getting a bit of treatment tomorrow after playing in this game.
You're not that hard, are you then? Here's Crabtree. Ryan Atkins, another Wakefield player. But nowhere for him to go. Cook. Here's Rooney. Bailey was the dummy runner, so was Radford. Purdom steps away from one, still going Purdom, coming back in field. That's the 5th tackle. And Rooney screaming commands and then hoists the kick. Calderwood is there, and it's well taken though. Very well taken by Etu Wasile.
Yeah, defused that really well, didn't he? The scrum half was defending out there on the wing. Really super work by Wasile there, under pressure from Mark Calderwood. But again, England got to the end of the set and they put a bit of pressure on with a quality last tackle play.
And Tonga gets a rare penalty. Jamie Jones-Buchanan just a little bit too enthusiastic there.
Yeah, and they'll be very, very happy with that, the Tongans there. Second effort there from Buchanan. Just trying to slow the play, the ball down that bit too much, and that really is a blessed relief, shall we say, for the Tongan team to get out of their own half.
Here's Mickey Paya, one of the 3 Paya brothers in this Tongan side. All of them with the Roosters. Well, in fact, Lele Paya is on his way to the Gold Coast Titans, in fact, when he gets back to Australia next week. But there's 3 Payas out there. Here come Tonga now. Makasini Richter comes infield, still going strong. And England just on the back foot a little bit. Richter trying to win the penalty there. They come again down that short side. It's with Lele Paya. And then the kick. Oh, it's a good kick. And England let it bounce, but Calderwood will pick it up. Now he is threatening in these situations. He's going round the houses. And still going, Calderwood did really well there. But he was looking for open field, it didn't come, but he certainly made good territory, and then he wins the penalty.
That's great kick return, wasn't it, from Mark Calderwood? I'm sure Paul Cullen will be a little concerned that England let the ball bounce in such a dangerous position. But look at this return, great footwork, great fend there from Calderwood, and then he's going to show his pace. And then again, he's named at 7, Vasali, who's playing on the right wing. Second effort there on Calderwood, and he won the penalty. Marvellous work by the England winger.
Jamie Jones-Buchanan plays that ball. Here's Crabtree. Looking to offload, but 3 Tongan defenders around him. Lapini Paya, one of them. Ashley Gibson, Cook, Rooney now. Rooney fancies his chances straight up the middle, but runs into Richard Fioso, the former Castleford man, heading back to Australia. And Richard Silverwood, I think, wants a word with Solomon Hamono, the...
well, he's off the field at the minute.
He is, so he's summoned, I think it's
Mateo, yes it is.
Yeah.
But then again, it looked a little high, but it wasn't for the high shot. It was more as Rooney's trying to regain his feet. It was dragged to the ground by Fioso. And it's a cheap penalty, really. But that's the reward, you know, for Jamie Rooney. He really hit the ball at pace there. It was very direct, got between 2 players, found the floor there in good body position to play the ball, and Fioso just wouldn't let him.
And England decide against just going for the simple 2 points and look for more. And Richard Fioso came hurtling in there for a shot at Ryan Bailey. Here's Crabtree. He'll take him on, relishing the challenge, and Crabtree still going for that line. He's on it. He's over it now. And Richard Silverwood calls held. He plays the ball just inside the field of play. Rooney, Radford, trying to put the step on. Wassey with the tackle. Jamie Jones-Buchanan. Rooney, Ferris, Hodgson. Nowhere for him to go. Comes back in field. Fioso is high again.
Well, is it a grapple tackle, that one?
Well, it was right under the nose of Richard Silverwood. Oh, there's an opportunity here. Furdham puts the little kick in. The ball's come back for England. It's still bobbling up there. It's still loose, a real schmozzle. And eventually, Brett Ferris, I think it is, plunges over. Richard Silverwood says, listen, what happened? Well, that's a very good question.
It is a good question, because I certainly don't know. I know it was a schmozzle, there were boots, and the ball was ricocheting. It was like a pinball machine.
But Tony Ray said, that's a try.
Well, let's have a look. There's a ball that's a little early put up to Purdom. He put boot to ball. Ferris put boot to ball. It's going everywhere. They've lost it. Yeah, it is.
It is.
I tell you, the only thing you might look at is Purdom is the last guy to go at the ball. Is he offside? It's the only slight thing you could have a look at. After this, not this bounce, not the next one. After this. No, it's off a... That's a try.
Yeah.
It's off 2 Tongans.
Yeah. It is. And then Brett Ferris says, where's the ball?
Yeah, that's
it's there.
Nobody else wants it, I'll have it.
I might as well take 4 points. And the pressure's paid off again. Good decision by England to run that penalty.
Second try for England. Not the prettiest, but again, Tonga really unable to control possession. And they're indisciplined, contributing to their downfall, and England taking full advantage of it in a bit of a roundabout way, it has to be said.
Yeah, well, you've got to take your opportunities, and that's all this is. Again, the chance to defuse the situation there, but another error, and it's from Purdom's kick, ricochets firstly off one Tongan, then Brett Ferris puts boot to ball, and then it's Makasini Richter who dropped the ball, and Ferris says, thank you very much, I'll take the points on offer.
Jamie Rooney successful with his first attempt this afternoon, and another success. He's had a great season with the boots. He's now got 40 points in the 4 games in the competition. Great return, and England into a pretty comfortable lead, 12-0 at the moment. Well, Tonga will be looking to get down this end of the field and make England make the error, because they really haven't had a scent, and there is the error. Ryan Bailey.
Yeah, I don't think we realise how greasy it is out there, Bill. It's been a terrible sort of mid-morning to early afternoon. It's been raining incessantly, and obviously both sets of players having trouble looking after the football and bringing it out from their own 20. So that's why it makes the tactics, Tony, so easy. Just put the ball in the opposition red zone and ask them to bring it out.
Absolutely, and a little bit from the Tongans, you've got to take a bit of throttle off some of those big, powerful collisions they're looking for all the time, because it does put the ball in a bit of danger. Probably no coincidence, John, that Tonga's best 2 performances against England last time was in very good conditions, and then down in France last week it looked ideal conditions for rugby league. So they are, I agree with you, struggling a touch with the conditions.
Well, England have been penalised there. It was Rooney who was offside, and Tonga have taken a quick tap. And this is a great opportunity for them. Kimiwasi pops the ball up. Mateo goes on his own. It was one of the Pai brothers, I beg your pardon, Jim Dimmick, down on the coming down toward the sidelines by the look of things. Kimiwasi fancies his chances there, but runs into some solid England defence. 4 tackles gone for the Tongans, looking for something here. Matteo. Crabtree with the tackle, and Brett Ferris. Kimiwasi puts the little kick in. The ball's ricocheted kindly for Tonga, and they're into touch. They're over the try line, I beg your pardon, Tyrone Smith. Tiaki it was.
Yeah. That's some effort, isn't it?
Taniela Tiwaki, who looked as though he was heading for the touchline, instead he got over the try line.
Well, that really is some effort from the big fella there. I believe he's from Western. It's called as a prop or a winger. But here's a penalty. Jamie Rooney there offside. Really is an interference at the scrum there. And at the end of that set, England defended pretty well. Then ricochet to this big fella, playing out in the centre, and Ryan Hatkins will be disappointed with that. But my word, didn't Tuiaki take his opportunity? Look at the strength, the leg drive there, and the ability to look after the ball, control the ball whilst he grounds it. It's a very good try indeed from the big fella.
John Kerr's been waiting for the Tongan side to get to a kick. They've got to a couple now, and it's really paid for them. I guess we've seen 2 tries in the last couple of minutes, one from England, now one from Tonga. Scrappy little affairs on the line, little grubbers through. We're going to see that a little bit as the game goes through. The kicking games are important, be it the long ones, be it the short ones. The key is to keep competing.
So second try of the competition for Tuiaki. And Matteo looking for his 10th success with the boot to narrow the gap. He's brought that across the face of the post though. 12-4 the scoreline, but Tonga on the scoreboard. That will give them a lift.
Well, Bill, that's the first real time they put England under pressure, isn't it? With the ball in hand inside the England 20, and it's paid off for them. So the script's there for the Tongans as well.
And the Tongan supporters here have something to cheer about at last. Tiaki has had a reasonable season for Wests, made 12 appearances, and he had a cracking debut, got 2 tries on his West debut against the Warriors. Now then, England might just find this is a bit of a revved up Tongan side now immediately from the restart.
It's funny you say that, Bill. I was talking to Jimmy Dimmick a couple of weeks ago. He said the worst thing we can do is score, which is a funny thing to say, because we get all excited. Our next set after that's always a disaster and puts us under pressure. So let's see if they can get to a kick and see if they've been listening to their coach.
Solomon Hamono it was with the drive, and that's the kick.
A good kick.
It's a 40-20 attempt from Matteo, and just fielded by Calderwood, but then he's got the thundering hooves of the Tongan cavalry charging down on him. It just manages to keep the ball in possession.
Marvellous work though, wasn't it, from the Tongans there. Matteo put boot to ball, you know, Bill, on tackle number 3. Went for that 40-20, didn't achieve it, but it's the next best thing. It's great field position.
And an error from Ryan Atkins, I think it is, and England now are guilty of coughing up possession. Shake of the head
Well, I'll be very disappointed with that, Ryan Atkins. Struggling to get up there, and it's quite right, ladies. He's lost the ball. It's his responsibility when he's regained his feet to look after the ball. He doesn't do that, and it's a great opportunity for the Tongans after that early tackle kick from Matteo.
Lelipea. Now Kimiwasi straight up the middle and then finds Lupini Paya. Kimiwasi. Matteo now. Takes him on himself and almost broke from the tackle.
They've got marvellous leg drives, Bill. In the collision, they really do continue pumping the legs, and it causes all sorts of problems.
And Solomon Hamono pumping his legs and then getting the ball away to William Tupu, and Tupu is driven back. That's good defence from England. Led by Nick Scruton. Jim Dimmock watches as his side threatens again now. And England under a little bit of pressure. Now they spin the ball wide, and Fioso through the middle. That needed to be a good tackle, and it was from Rob Purdom. Fioso was on the charge there. Tyrone Smith pumps the ball out. Crossfield kick. Calderwood is under pressure, and the ball spilled, and he's got there, I think.
Well,
Etuwasile has got there.
Did he knock on, Bill?
Richard Silverwood says that's another decision for Jerry Kershaw, the video ref.
Knock on there, Jerry.
It suggests, by the way, the speed that ball came out of the collision, that was probably hit by a Tongan coming on at speed. Let's have a look at it.
It's a great contest, isn't it, there? Wasali and Calderwood both going up there. Really is a 50-50 collision, and I think it's come off his head. I think Calderwood's played the ball there onto the fellow wearing 7, Wasali, who was playing on the wing. And doesn't he show great urgency, great commitment, great determination to get there and ground the ball legally?
What about that hang time? He was sitting up in the air for a good half a second.
Marvellous. Great jump, isn't it, to put Mark Calderwood under pressure. But I'm really impressed with this recovery, Tony. Look at the recovery there. Hand time there. That's certainly not come off his arm. I think that's play on. I really do think that's play. It's a fair contest, a 50-50 contest. He's recovered the first. That's a great try for Wasali in my book.
And he got downward pressure on it. But what's Jerry Kershaw going to make of that? Tonga would love to see... Oh, they'll be disappointed by that.
I guess he's thought that he's lost control in the air. It has hit his hands and bounced up to his head and was never in control. The debate is that it did appear to hit his hands and go backwards.
It did, but I'm sure that England will feel that's a little bit of a let-off. But sometimes the body language tells you a lot of the players as well, and perhaps they should have sold it after the grounding, Tony, and really tried to convince everybody that it scored, but it was a bit of a muted celebration, really.
They keep telling us, John, that the video ref doesn't look at that. So.
Meanwhile, Fufu Moi penalised for that high shot, and a relieving penalty for England. It was Ewan Dowes who was the victim of the high tackle. I think that was his first touch as well. And England straight back up the field. That's good tackle out from Matteo, scragging Ashley Gibson. He felt that. Here's Dowes once more, and that's another thumping challenge from the Tongans, really putting their backs into it. It was Fufu Moi when he puts his back into it and hits you. Well, apparently you know you've been hit. He's a big lad. But England looking to respond to that Tongan pressure. Rooney finds Jamie Jones-Buchanan. He's trying to squeeze the ball out in the tackle. That's the last. And Rooney will put the kick. Just a little stab kick in, and it's come back to England. They're keeping it alive. They don't need to, and then that'll be a knock-on, I think. Well, in fact, the offside decision, I think, goes against England in that little passage of play.
Yeah, Brett Ferris, wasn't it? It was getting offside, but it was a little kick there from Rooney, and they also played at it. And then he's dropped the ball forward. Yeah, good decision by Mr. Silverwood. Good decision. Ferris dropped the ball forward. Purdom was in front of him in offside position, and he picked it up. So there's the decision of Tonga ball on the halfway line.
I say this is the last big game of the domestic season. Of course, there's still plenty happening down under and more Tri-Nations to come. Australia against Great Britain next Saturday at 9:30 in Brisbane. And of course, that all leads to the Tri-Nations final. Can Great Britain still get there? November the 25th, they'll be hoping so. But my word, they've got some work to do now. And so have England, because Tonga coming right back up this end of the field now, encouraged by that try. And here's Fufu Moimoi. Had a bit of a muted start to this game, but he's got into it. Moimoi. Here's Solomon Hamono. He's lost possession and it's picked up by England.
I think they're claiming that one of the English players played at that, but
it was Nick Scruton, I think.
It matters not. I think he played at his arm, Bill, and you're testing his carry when you do that.
You mentioned Tonga coming back into this game. It's been a pretty good coaching effort there from Jimmy Dimmick. I'm sure he wouldn't have been expecting to have to rotate his props, Solomon Hamono and Fufu Moimoi. He was prepared to do that, give him 10 minutes rest and get him back on early in the game after all the early errors that Tonga were coming up with. It's worked for him. He's turned the game around a little bit.
Rooney's gone for a 40-20, but that one was a bit of a leg break, just came back in field.
Well done, David Hodgson, though. Rooney kicked from dummy half there, and Hodgson really did put the hammer down on the accelerator to pin Talanoa in his own 20.
And England looking to keep that pressure on now to prevent Tonga getting back up their end of the field. Dow's with the tackle, Jamie Jones-Buchanan there as well. And still going. Wetu Wasile it was, and the penalty will go against Tonga. And they're a bit bemused by that decision.
Well, they're bemused, but I believe Mr. Silverwood's called play the ball. But there was certainly there's momentum and there's movement within that tackle there, and I think you can feel a little bit hard done to Mr. Wasile.
Wetu Wasile there. Had a great game against France, and that really was a surprise. I think most people were anticipating it'd be England-France here this afternoon, but Tonga, with those 8 tries, ruined John Money's hopes of bringing his French side here. And it's Tonga who are looking to deny England the Federation Shield. Ewan Dow's legs pumping, getting closer to that Tongan try line. Radford spinning in the tackle. Eventually Sam Moa with the tackle to bring him down. Rooney, Ashton now. Ashton puts a little grubber kick in, but well dealt with.
It was well positioned, wasn't it, Talanoa there? It just drifted across the back of the Tongan defensive line, and he read that all the way there from Chris Ashton. Real good full-back play.
Seeing a lot of attack to the right-hand side for England here. We've seen another kick, probably the 4th or 5th in the game, that's gone into that corner.
Oh, it's on again, and everybody wants a bit of this. And it's still on down at the bottom there. A little sideshow going on. And all the officials involved, and still they're at it in the middle of that. And Solomon Hamono, I think, was involved. Brett Ferris comes crawling out from the wreckage. Still going. And Feleti Mateo was obviously in the thick of it. Well, something happened at this tackle. And Makasini Richter reacted.
And Ferris reacted, and then it's on.
Kimi Wasi comes in as well. Well, it's Makasini Richter who takes the tackle, and Ferris swung the arm there, but I think he was going...
The hand's open. It wasn't a throw of the fist or anything. And again, it's disappointing reaction there. They've got to control your emotions because you're playing a game of rugby league football.
Well, Richard Silverwood reaching for his pocket, so whether this is going to be a 10-minute breather, it looks like it for Brett Ferris. And
is it number 2?
Yeah, it was number 2, Richard. Makasini Richter. And I think he'll get his marching orders for 10 minutes in the sin bin.
You'll go as well.
And one of the more experienced members of this Tongan side, Makasini Richter, 27 years old.
That's a good piece of refereeing, that, Bill. He's done really well there, Richard Silverwood. Just went in there, called his touch judges in, settled it all down, took his time, and then just said, right, you two culprits, you started it. Go have 10 minutes on the sideline and shiver.
So that penalty takes Tonga up to the halfway line. And here's the captain. charging them forward. 7-5 the penalty count in England's favour at the moment. Well, the England boys were saying that they anticipated there'd be lots of the physical stuff out there, and they haven't been disappointed. And there might be more to come as well. Kimiwasi with a darting run.
I've been impressed with how Scruton and Dowes, though. They've come on the field and they really stood up to the Tongan onslaught in the middle.
Matteo, that's a lovely ball, and William Tupou is away. He's got Matteo inside him. He'll be a try here for the Tongans. Wonderfully worked try. And Jim Dimmock applauds their handiwork. Well, he'd got a bloody nose a few minutes ago for Leti Matteo, but now he's celebrating the Tongan second try, and it was really well worked, but a gaping hole in that England defence for William Tupou to exploit.
A very good try. Well, this is the money ball, but look at the line he runs there. It comes from outside to in, got outside Paul Cook, inside Brian Atkins into that gap. And then the provider, Matteo, he provided the pass there to put him through, and that's a superb pass, a great line of run from Tupou. And then Matteo's on the inside supporting, just got the presence of mind to fend Ashton off. But a very, very good try. First of all, there's great ball movement left to right. Then there's that great line of run between Cook and Atkins. Then tremendous inside support. And doesn't this fella love it?
The coach enjoys it as well. And what a good time to score as well. And celebrations for the Tongans as Leti Matteo gets his first try of the competition.
Well, the penalty was the cause of the field position, and they were very solid. Work down the left-hand side of the field. The ball went to Matteo. We saw him with a bloody nose. It was great composure from a young man, just to be able to see the play, read the play. A fantastic line from William Tupou. Their back row's been outstanding. He hit a beautiful line. Matteo supported, and this is really game on. Great ball game. Great to see Jimmy Dimmock enjoying the game. I really do think, I know I'm biased as having worked with him, I just think he's played a big part in turning this around with a couple of his rotations. He's a tremendous reader of the game. And he's shown in his coaching that he can do that as well as Flea.
12-10 the scoreline. The Tongans have fought back. 12-0 down they were. So game on here at the Holton Stadium.
Well, the momentum swung, I feel, with the errors and the penalties. Initially, Bill, first 10-15 minutes, it was Tongan error after error, Tongan penalty after penalty, and then all of a sudden it swung the other way around, and they made England pay.
That's a good tackle, though.
John, I think a big feature's been Tonga's ability to defend the kicks, to be able to get the ball back in their hands off the back of England's kicking game, be it a long 40-20, be it a short one, be it one in the air. If Tonga can keep securing the ball in these wet conditions off those kicks, the kicking game's big, they'll keep hanging in this game.
Yeah, and interesting as well, Tony, they've actually brought Graham Horn on to play at the hooking position, because obviously it's taken a lot of petrol out of the tank of Ashley Gibson, and he's gone for a 40-20 again.
I think Calderwood's down there to retrieve that one. Had time there, but there's a good chase led by Taniela Tiaki. So England will be just glad, I think, to get through to half-time now, having seen that 12-0 lead cut down. And Richard Fioso enthusiastic as ever. Mickey Pyer in there as well. Hodgson losing his footing and only able to make a couple of metres there. Purdham under a little bit of pressure from that pass from Lee Radford.
Well, I'd call for some dummy half scoots here. Let's get out from dummy half quick as we can, put some footwork on against the big Tongans. Let's not try and pass our way out. Let's go route one.
And Fioso goes high again and queries that decision and just demonstrates to Richard Silverwood what he thought happened.
Well, he wants to look at his tackle technique instead of questioning Mr. Silverwood's ability. So that's way too high there, and it really has let England off the cosh.
Especially after 5 of them, you think it might be him the problem.
The penny obviously hasn't dropped yet. So just over a minute left in this first half, which has really swung back in favour of the Tongans. They trail on the scoreboard, but only by 2 points now, and they're probably wishing that this first half wouldn't end, because they're on a roll. But Nick Scruton's on a roll as well. He's got Rooney on his inside, but he couldn't get the ball to him, so he wisely decided to go himself, take the tackle. There were men in the way, but this is a great chance for England to end this first half with points on the board. Radford, 4 tackles gone. Tonga defending well after that break from Scruton. Paul Cook Cook for Rooney. Rooney will take him on himself, then the ball out wide to Atkins. Atkins for Calderwood. It's a stroll in for the winger, and what a crushing blow that is. What a great strike for Paul Cullen's side. But Tonga so disappointed, and they just can't believe it at the moment. Etu Wasile there summing up their feelings probably. Calderwood though gobbles those chances up.
And look at the footwork here of Nick Scruton, real quality work. They've got the field position with the penalty, but then he needed the break, and the presence of mind there. Look for Jamie Rooney, saw there was a defender between himself and Rooney, took the tackle, then later on in the tackle count here, there's Paul Cook to Rooney, the two pivots there playing across the field, picks out Ryan Atkins, sucks the wingman in for an easy run in for Mark Calderwood. But it was certainly Scruton's break initially that caused it, but it's pretty good execution on the back of it from the two pivots initially, and then from Ryan Atkins, a 2v1 situation, straightens up and serves for Calderwood to cross in the corner.
Again, we'll see a penalty make a big difference. They defended a lot of tackles in the passage there. England were patient. The break on play 2 from 47 metres out gave them great field position. The playmakers in Rooney and Cook really got the ball in their hands and crafted out a great try. The problem inside of that was actually the Tongans. The Tongans had played for half-time. They were waiting for the clock to get them there. Big kick from Rooney right on half-time. 2 easy points to give them an 8-point break.
Great kick from Rooney as the half-time hooter sounds. And England will breathe a sigh of relief there. They lead by 18 points to 10, but just for a moment, the Tongans were threatening to really upset the party. It's not over yet, of course, but at half-time, England taking advantage of Tongan indiscipline, and their mistakes have capitalised with those 3 tries. Calderwood, the most recent of them, a fantastic record now. 17 tries in 13 England appearances, England and England A for Mark Calderwood. And that try just before half-time has given England an 18-10 lead.
Certainly game on at the Holton Stadium in Widnes, the inaugural Federation Shield final between England and Tonga. A match that's had it all. It's had some talent on show, plenty of spite and passion, but England, just before half-time, scored what could prove to be a match-winning try. Right now at the Holton Stadium in Widnes, it's the inaugural final of the Federation Shield between England and Tonga. A match right in the balance. England just in front, 18 points to 10 at the moment, 3 tries to 2. It's a match that's really had everything, hasn't it? I trust you've enjoyed it. We've thoroughly enjoyed it here, but it's a spiteful game, if you like. The Tongans certainly know how to put a try on the board. John Keir, of course, a former Wakefield coach here in the commentary in the studio with us, and Tony Ray from Harlequins as well. John, no question. England, when they've got the ball, they look dangerous. So too to Tonga. But good work and well finished by Rob Purdon for the opener.
Yeah, I think he's had a real quality game as Purdon, because they've been running Fiosa at him and frequently, but he's still come up with some great defence and some crucial plays in attack there, like the try, then the little grubber kick there that caused the schmozzle, and Ferris obviously had the presence of mind simply to pick up and plonk it over the whitewash for a very, very simple 4 points.
Tonga then come up with a schmozzle of their own here, and again, both teams competing on the ground. You can see the power of the Tongan players, particularly in collision. John mentioned it in commentary, they just keep their leg drive going the whole way. This is a bit of a controversial one, maybe controversial, you judge. This is the hang time. It looked to me like it might have just been a ricochet off the head, but young Eto competed the whole way through to try and score the try, but wasn't given.
I say, well, there's plenty of emotion out there, and these Tongans, they are here to win. It's not just through theatrics, and you only have to look at some of these outbreaks that show just what this match means to them. Yeah, but frustration getting in the road.
Chris, you've got to keep your emotions under control. You have to keep a cool head under pressure. And unfortunately, some of the Tongans and the English players as well, they've been sucked into this, and we don't want to see this. And as you say, it has been spiteful in times, but there's been some real good rugby league, and this was a quality piece of play here from Matteo and Tupou, who really came on a marvellous line, split the English defence wide open between Cook and Atkins, and then great support on the inside. And then obviously at the very end here, the two pivots, Cook and Rooney, they fashioned out a try. And I like this 2-on-1 play with Atkins and Calderwood against the wing of Wasile that caused the try there at the very end.
Mark Calderwood, he certainly knows how to finish, doesn't he? But just about 40 seconds on the clock there was there. Just what Tonga didn't need. England now are in the box seat. These Tongans, Tony, though, I guess field position or good field position for them is at a premium. But when they get there, they are very dangerous.
Very much so. It's almost, you know, the A to Z of how to play rugby league in the typical way and get field, but they don't do that. They just hang in there doggedly, and they just threaten you when they get down the other end of the field, which is what, and they can come up with points. They'll hang in there and they'll come up with big plays. So when you look at the scoreboard and you think, oh, England are going away with this, you probably think you're watching a typical game of rugby league, a methodical game. You're not with them. Their talent and their spirit comes out of it. We must remember this is a final. I've been thinking to myself, if England score next, it's going to be trouble for them, and England will come flying out of these sheds. But then you remind yourself it's Tonga and it's a final, so anything could happen as the way through here. They play with so much spirit and so much endeavour, they can come up with the play.
John, put yourself in England coach Paul Cullen's shoes right now. What would he be saying, do you think?
Well, I think really, if to try and play in the Tongan 20, I mean, we've been saying this in the commentary as much as you can. One, for them to come up with errors, but two, to keep them away from your own try line, because when they get within 20 metres of your try line, they're such big guys, they've got such power in the collision, and they have got the ability to offload, that they do cause you problems. So just keep them as far away from your line as you can. It's not rocket science.
Jim Dimmick, the Tongan coach here, was absolutely delighted with their score, and they know that it's game on. England, though, Mark Calderwood crossing in the corner with just seconds left, have really put England in the box seat. But as Tony Ray and John Keir have alluded to, these guys mean business. They are here to win. They are here to win the inaugural Federation Shield final. They are just 8 points adrift at halftime. 40 minutes remaining. Who will take the shield? Right now, though, our focus is on the very first Federation Shield final, and England, they are very much in the driver's seat. They were ahead by just 2 points with a minute to go in the first half. Mark Calderwood, though, scored in the corner. That was England's third try after Purdom and Ferris had scored earlier. Rooney with 3 goals, 18 plays, 10 for Tonga. Tuiaki and Folletti Matteo, their try scorers. Matteo with the 1 goal. 18 points to 10, and second half about to get underway here at the Holton Stadium in Widnes. Once again, our commentary team, John Keir, Tony Ray and Bill Arthur.
Solomon Hamono, the Tongan captain, and fair play to Tonga when you consider that they've only been playing rugby league officially since 1986. They've got a playing population of some 2,000. Well, the island's population is only about 100,000 or so. So it's a big effort from this Tongan side, but they do have quite a high proportion playing in the NRL, an increasing proportion of these Tongan players going to the NRL competition. It's Tonga getting the second half underway. First touch for England, and Ewan Dow's one man missing from this England side today. It's the lead hooker, Matt Diskin. He's down on the sidelines with Rod Studd.
Thanks, Bill. Matt, I'm sure you'd rather be out there than talking to me. What's the problem?
I pulled my hamstring on training on Thursday. It hasn't quite healed in time for the game.
What were your thoughts on the first half? A bruising first half?
Yeah, it was. When we played them away down at London last time, the bash was up a little bit. But I thought the first 20 we controlled really well, and we showed a bit of composure and we got some points on the board. We seemed to hit that 20-minute mark and seemed to lose a little bit of intensity, and they got in our half a couple of occasions and scored, which were a little bit disappointing because they was only there twice and they came away with 2 tries.
How important was that score by Mark Calderwood in the final few seconds of the first half, do you think, Matt?
Extremely important. It gave us a little bit of a breathing space before we come out in the second half, and hopefully now we can get back in control of the game, show a little bit of a composure and start playing the game down at their end of the field.
Thanks, Matt.
No problem, pleasure.
Matt Diskin sitting this one out, and will need a bit of treatment. Presumably he'll have a bit of a breather before pre-season training starts. But it's been a tough year for these players. Tonga keeping the ball alive.
Well, you were talking, Bill, about the number of players there is in Tonga, but I'll tell you what they have got. They've got physical presence, haven't they? They certainly have. Right the way through from 1 to 17. They are big, aggressive animals.
Well, 150 to 200 Tongan players in the NRL, at all grades, that is. Yeah. That's quite a representation.
It is. The fine species out there, they really are.
Here's Matteo, little chip and chase from the standoff, and it's great work. Could be a try here, decided to go himself. He had the opportunity. There was a man in support, but they're still coming strongly here, the Tongans. Another little chip kick, and it was the wrong option, and they've blown that one. Great build-up work from Feleti Mateo.
Lovely skill there, wasn't it, from the big fella? Lovely little chip over. But I thought it did the right thing, because Mark Calderwood defended that very well. Got between the ball carrier and the support player, and then he had the presence of mind to retrieve the kick as well. So real good work from Calderwood.
And then, after all that effort, Tonga again concede the penalty. And they'll be kicking themselves once more. And it was another high tackle. Mickey Pyer it was.
Yeah, they'll be very disappointed, because they opened the half very well with that inventive piece of play from Mateo, and once again they've let England off the hook.
Ewan Dowes had a big season for Hull. 9-5 the penalty count in England's favour. Graham Horner, another Hull player, and yet another with Paul Cook. Jamie Jones-Buchanan then brings the ball back in field. A quick play, the ball. Hasn't been that much of that from England. Here's Nick Scruton. Scruton just out of favour towards the end of the season with Leeds.
He's certainly played well in this game.
He's made an impact, hasn't he?
In this tournament, yes, he has.
Here's Jamie Rooney. Rooney for Radford. Oh, and that was a high pass for Chris Ashton. He couldn't take that. And Paul Cullen not impressed, I don't think.
Good pressure though, isn't it, there from the Tongan defence. Really didn't give Ashton time to feel that ball. It was Radford there trying to pick Ashton up, and all he got was walloped with a shoulder. Good aggressive defence.
Chris Ashton, the Wigan Player of the Year, had a cracking season for Wigan, came on strongly. And he'll have Mick Withers just giving him a little bit of guidance at Wigan next season. Good man to learn from. The two sin binners have rejoined the fray, so we're back up to 13 aside now, and Tonga get the penalty that time. There's Brett Ferris, who had 10 minutes in the cooler for his part in that scrap. Penalty count is really creeping up now. 9-6 it is in England's favour. And Tonga looking to respond to that Calderwood try just before the interval. Ferris involved with the tackle, Purdon as well, and here's for Fifi Moi Moi, a real cult figure in Australia.
You can see why, can't you? He really carries the ball aggressively and throws his body at the defensive line.
Now then, was there obstruction there? I think there was. And Richard Feo, so enthusiastic as ever, but just a little bit too enthusiastic.
Yes, pushing up there, hoping for the support.
You don't agree, Tony Ray?
No, I thought he'd gone past the ball. I thought the defender didn't have to buy in on him, and he milked it. But the line ball decision, you could see why it would be made, so I don't think that's a big error from the referee, an understandable one.
So, too many penalties early on in this second half, really. It's disrupted the pattern of the game. Rooney. Ewan Dowes. And England rolling forward again. Graham Horn to Cook. Cook. Jamie Jones-Buchanan. Ball out wide to Calderwood. Calderwood taken high, but he's in touch. Good defence from the Tongans once more.
A little unorthodox, but effective. Took him over the whitewash there. Etu Wasali playing on the wing with the number 7 on his back. So once again, he's got him over the sideline. The big shift there just gave them the opportunity to get up and push outwards and post Calderwood over the sideline.
I tell you, it's been interesting here. Just look how slow that scrum was packed. The one before it was as well. Tonga got a penalty. They loped to it. England have got to be very careful here. Tonga are really trying to slow this ball game down and make it explosive, but not quick and intense. They'll probably be kicked for sidelines and look for these big plays, these big opportunities.
Makasini Richter chasing his own kick, appealing for the penalty, and I think he's going to get it. He was obstructed on the chase there.
That's a good decision as well. I don't know whether Mr. Silver got some help from the sideline, but as you can see from the naked eye, if you watch Chris Ashton here, when he puts boot to ball, he doesn't run his own line, he runs across, and that's what Mr. Silverwood has spotted. It's a touch of Jack. That's a real good decision, that, and it's the right one.
Absolutely, you're allowed to interfere with the player providing you are both running straight at the ball. The minute you don't go at the ball, you can't do that. And again, look at the pace of this penalty. In the attacking zones, just come down. Tonga have slowed this game right down. England have got to be very careful not to be lulled here, because as soon as the ball gets into action, it's going to be fast and explosive.
Makasini Richter then back on the pitch for Jim Dimmock's side from his spell in the Simbinil, making an impact. Now Fayoso. Tonga so close to that try line and looking to close the gap. It was Simi Foliaki who was just short of the try line. Now Fifi Moimoi looking to use his strength. Ashton puts his shoulder to the wheel in there as well. 4 England defenders with the tackle. Simi Foliaki scooped up off his toes by Matteo, but not before he'd knocked the ball on, and grimace from the standoff.
It was Pay, wasn't it, Bill?
Was Lele Pahey, yeah, I beg your pardon.
But that's a big error, that, when England are under the caution. And Tony's called it right, you know, the tempo of the game, that determines who's controlling the game. England would obviously want, with so many young, fit, athletic guys out there, they'd want a quick, intense game throughout. Tonga with their bigger, more explosive players, they're happy to start the game and explode into it and to try to pick up some points.
Jamie Jones-Buchanan on the charge. Cook looking for a quick play the ball.
Quick play the ball is a key word when you're coming up against it. It's all right to point it out. What should England do? Couple of quick dummy half carries, couple of repeat efforts on a couple of the Tongan forwards, just to get some speed at the ruck and get the game going. But again, you can see them. Wow.
Fifi Moimoi came steaming in there for the big hit on Ewan Dowes and hit thin air, I think. That's great work from Graham Horne, but then the pass is stray and it's going to be snapped up by Tyrone Smith. There's Fifi Moimoi. Well, fair dues to Ewan Dowes, he just saw him off.
He did see him off, and my word, Graham Horne should have taken better advantage of that, you know. Fayoso then flew out of the defensive line again and gave us a bit of a half gap, but then lack of composure turned the ball over, and then there's been a penalty there from, I believe it was Jamie Rooney.
You can go and have a coffee, because it's a penalty to Tonga. They will take their time here.
Yep. But the marker's not square, and he called it right once again. Mr. Silver's having a very good game, but the penalty count's too high for my liking.
It is. It's disjointed, this game, probably, as Tony Ray's saying, exactly as Tonga would like it, not allowing this England side to settle into any pattern. Tuafo is on. Willie Tupu has been replaced. Here's Solomon Hamono. Just flew into the country on Thursday, having been home for his wedding.
Did almost as much flying as you, Bill.
Well, he's had his honeymoon to contend with as well, so there you go. England having to defend. Just about 12 metres out. Foso gets the ball out wide. Tyrone Smith will use his strength. Can he get the ball down? Well, I think he lost that ball, but Richard Silverwood is there, and he awards the try. Second of the game. And Tyrone Smith crashing over there.
Yeah, it's good ball movement from right to left this time. And it's Jamie Rooney who flies out of the line there, and it's a nothing attempt at a tackle on Fayoso, and that creates a bit of space for Tyrone Smith. And when Tyrone Smith gets the space, which is created by Rooney's indifferent attempt on Fayoso, great footwork here and great determination and control of the ball as he crosses the line, and that's a good try, and Mr. Silverwood got it exactly right.
Incredibly powerful run of this guy, Tyrone Smith. When he goes to the line from there, you are not much of a chance. Great patience here. Again, a penalty, gave them field position and work way over to the right-hand side of the field on play 3, set themselves deep to the left and come up with a great play, which score a try deep into the left-hand corner.
So the Harlequins man getting his side on the scoreboard in the second half, exactly what they were working towards. And can Matteo goal this one from wide out to narrow the gap still further? Looking to drift it in, and he's pushed that one wide as well. And they haven't been that effective with their goal kicking, but 18-14, Jim Dimmock will be pleased with that. His side hanging in there, battling grimly.
It just shows, though, Bill, doesn't it, how important a real good goal kicker is, an 80% plus goal kicker, because the only difference are those 2 conversions that Jamie Rooney's put over from wide on the sideline.
Well, Joel Taufo, who's on the bench, is their most productive goal kicker, but it's Matteo who's been given the goal kicking duties.
Particularly important set, this one, Bill, for Tonga. They have to get down there. We've seen off the last couple of tries that Matteo set himself up to kick on play 3. It's important that they keep in control. Great offload from Sol, the leader, trying to power on forward. Now, they don't need to react to this. They just need to get themselves forward, get to a kick and apply that field position, because when they're down there, they're coming up with points.
There's been a bit of a reshuffle as well, hasn't there? Because Rod Purden's defending more in the middle now, Tony, and Lee Smith has come on and he's defending as a right centre.
Well, he's gone for a 40-20, I think, but was he inside the 40? He's got it. That's a 40-20, definitely. And Matteo really is pulling the strings now. That's a great kick. I thought it was probably just on the line.
No, well inside, and I think this is one of the best rules in rugby league, you know. It's a real reward for high-quality skill, because it does take some skill to kick from inside your own 20, cause the ball to bounce, and go over the sideline within 20 metres of the opposition goal line. Great skill from the standoff half, and the reward is head and feet in great field position.
Yeah, clever bit of coaching there. Jimmy Dimmitt's got him on a simple pattern coming off their tries. Front rower, Matteo kick. They nearly had 2 40-20s, then they've had another one. Look at this, they're so dangerous in field position. The other point is 6, Matteo. When he doubles, he's kicked a 40-20. You watch how busy he is in this set. When he comes up with a big play, he stays in the game, stays hungry and keeps looking, and he's an incredible threat.
Fifi Moimoi is off, Falamaka has come on. Meanwhile, Tonga looking to take advantage of that magnificent kick from Feleti Matteo. England really having to muscle up here. The Tongans have got their tails up. Here is Matteo again. Taufo.
Better defence, so wide out by the English line. They really took the space of the Tongan players and didn't let them get a head of steam up.
Simi Foliaki, and now it's Fayoso, a no-nonsense player. That's the 5th tackle. They're doing well here, England, but can they keep them at bay? Matteo puts the kick in. Hodgson having to react and get that ball dead. And England just managing to see off that onslaught, but there's more to come.
Great skill again, isn't it, from the standoff half, Matteo there. Lovely little dab kick that he got somehow between the England defenders. They played it with their foot, they couldn't keep it out, and it was left to Hodgson to tidy up.
So England dropping out underneath their own posts. And taken by Fetuli Talanoa. And then on the charge, back comes Sam Moa. Just over the 30-metre line. Here's the captain, and Feleti Matteo is straight up the middle. He'll be in. Oh, great defence. What defence from England there when it looked as though he was clear. Lee Smith just managing to get in there. But they could still be in here. Tyrone Smith trying to use his strength. And England having to muscle up.
Well, that's the tackle of the game, is it, from Lee Smith? Just come on the field, and he comes up with a play like that.
Tyrone Smith once more comes back in field. They're not finished yet. Here's Talanoa. Talanoa, though, trying to put the footwork on this England side. That's the 4th tackle. If they can escape from here without any damage, it'll be magnificent work from this England defence, and it's Tonga who've come up with the error, but the ball's still loose, and it's eventually picked up by Calderwood. Well, what a let-off that is, because it looked as though Feleti Matteo was going to go through then. Magnificent tackle from Lee Smith.
I don't consider it a let-off for me. I think it's a piece of great play, and then Calderwood's done great to tidy it up. This is a superb tackle. It looks to have half-fended Ashenoff, but it was Lee Smith from the blind side chasing back that got the tackle in there. That was absolutely sensational cover tackling by the Leeds player Lee Smith.
18-14 the scoreline here, and Tonga must have thought they were in there. That ball's gone backwards. Ryan Bailey has picked it up, and Bailey will take him on.
Well, we've got a contest, Bill, haven't we?
It's building up to that, John.
Outside.
Rooney puts the kick in. Richard Silverwood says he was outside the 40, but that's still a good kick. It's just going to be a bit too strong, and Talanoa just happy to see that one go dead.
He'll still be happy, Jamie Rooney. They've cleared their own red zone. They've got it back into the Tongan half. And let's now get a set defensive line and put some pressure on them and see if we can cause an error.
Fioso, Bailey standing his ground.
Be very surprised if they don't cause an error. The speeds with England now, they've lifted from defending that. The Tongans threw a real lot into that attacking raid. It's left them a little bit tired the way they retreated there. They really do need to be careful in this period to maintain their dominance.
Simi Foliaki takes the tackle. The captain, Hamono, takes him up to the 40-metre line. He was looking to offload, but Rob Purdham in the tackle, wrapping things up there.
Will they go for an early kick again?
The ball popped up for Lapini Paya on the halfway line. 4 tackles gone. Crabtree is back on as well, the big men, and Bailey took a swing there. He was lucky that the player in question ducked, and then a bit of a hit and hope kick there, just finds the touchline.
The reason it was hit and hope though, and it's Lee Smith's good play again, it was great kick pressure from Lee Smith. Look at him, and that caused it to be an indifferent kick and diffused any momentum that the Tongans had. That's real. He's had 2 real good involvements, Lee Smith, very early on with going as a substitute.
Joel Tafo come on from the bench. Tri-Nations, of course, still to be decided, and crucial game next Saturday in Brisbane when Australia take on Great Britain. It's a must-win game for Brian Noble's side, and you can see it. And then, of course, it all builds to the final on November the 25th back in Sydney, and that is live on Sky Sports 2 at 8:30 AM. Jamie Jones-Buchanan with a great ball, and Calderwood did well to take that ball. And Calderwood, has he got the legs here? He's still going, Mark Calderwood, and eventually they bring him down. But great work from the winger, and that's got to be a penalty. Richard Silverwood allows play to continue, but Calderwood, trying to get to his feet to play the ball, was impeded there. Now they come the other wing. Lee Smith, the crowd behind him. Hodgson puts the brakes on and comes infield. Oh, great wingers work from David Hodgson. That's why he's one of the best wingers in Super League. He put the brakes on and wrong-footed the Tongan defence, and Paul Cullen, as calm as you like, issues the instructions. But what a response from this England side to some pretty strong pressure from the Tongans, and David Hodgson with the try.
Well, let's all go back to Lee Smith's superb work. It's a nothing kick, and then look at this brilliant work from Jones Buchanan. Got between the defenders, put the ball out, but what skill from Calderwood. Look how he reels this in, almost without breaking his stride. He's in there, gets the ball under control, really pins his ears back. That creates the field position, and I like how quickly the ball's transferred from left to right, the plate to the space, and then it's Pettis. There's nowhere to go for Hodgson, but his footwork there and his alertness allows him to cross, coming back on the angle against the Tongan defence. It's retreating across the field. There he goes. He's got them all coming across. He'll go on the inside. Marvellous wingers try from Hodgson, but created by Calderwood.
The try tracker will tell a magnificent story. They've covered just about the whole field, shifted it deep to the left, made the great break, had great shape out to the right. They're in terrific form to do that. Hodgson made it look easy, but they were competing hard, scrambling hard in the corner of the Tongan. They ended up being a great try length of the fielder.
Rooney has kicked another one. He's in immaculate goal-kicking form, Jamie Rooney. He got his 2000th career points at the end of the season, in that never-to-be-forgotten relegation grand final, in actual fact, against the Castleford Tigers, and he's carried on goal-kicking. And David Hodgson, who was in the Super League Dream Team, Salford's only inclusion, but a really reliable performer. Oh, that's a good restart from the Tongans, though. It's caught England flat-footed.
Yeah, be very disappointed with that.
Folletti Matteo hasn't stopped thinking and engineering and trying to connive an opportunity for his side.
Yeah, he's got the book of tricks, hasn't he? It was a very different type of kick-off. A low one drilled to the sideline, and Graham Horn and Brett Ferris there. Somebody should have made a better play at the ball than that. It just drifted over the sideline for Tonga head and feed.
Now then, can Tonga take advantage of this? They trail by 24 points to 14 into the final quarter of the game. Here is Matteo. And Crabtree wrestling him to the ground. It's in the blood, you know.
It's good news for Tonga that when Folletti Matteo runs, they look very dangerous. They've got that, the offload from Solomon Amono, and also those plays where they're hitting back over the ruck is where they're really threatening England.
And they've got Fafun Mau to come back on the field as well, so when he comes back on, expect some fireworks.
Joel Tuafo trying to find a little gap in that England defence, but Brett Ferris shut the door on him. Simi Foliaki now. Matteo pops the ball up and again looking for support. Good defence from England that time. That's the 5th tackle. Can they withstand this pressure? Matteo puts the kick in, it's too strong, and England and Brett Ferris relieved to see that ball run dead. And Jim Dimmock probably a little bit frustrated that good position hasn't yielded more, but
I'm sure it is. But look at England's attitude. They wanted to restart very quickly, and the Tongans wanted to slow time it. But that's a great run by Crabtree.
Good work from Earl Crabtree, and again Tonga just interfering there, just trying to slow things down. Simi Foliaki it was, and Richard Silverwood probably being a little bit lenient in that respect. Must be getting frustrating for this England side. Purdham taking him on.
They're winning the ground more, England. They're very competitive in the collision. They're looking to play the ball quick against the slow Tongan tactics. As mentioned earlier in the game, here's a great opportunity for speed.
The kick is chased by Hodgson, and it's a good chase as well. Under pressure was Makasini Richter.
And now they'll step up the defence, England. They'll put them under real pressure here.
They've done it a number of times in this tournament, forced the error off the back of a good kick. But I was saying earlier, we mentioned earlier in the game that sometimes you can lose a game in the opening part of the game. You mightn't win it. I think this is where Tonga's starting to feel the game a bit now. They had to put in so much energy to exist in the first 12 to 15 minutes of the ball game. They're very, very tired now, and they're 10 points behind in a tight game.
Brett Ferris is just getting to his feet a little bit groggily, but
that's a tough kid.
Well, he'll
get dusted down and be back out there, don't worry, Bill.
No excuses. Fioso, neat work from him at that play the ball. Tonga aren't done yet, and Fioso comes looking for Ryan Bailey, but meanwhile it's the hooker Kimi Uasi with a good run. Matteo will pump the kick high. Calderwood is underneath it. He's got 2 Tongan players converging on him, and he takes it ever so well, does Mark Calderwood. And Etu Wasile trying to rip the ball off him and will concede the penalty.
Well, I think Mark Calderwood's had a 10 out of 10 game tonight, you know. It really has tidied up all the little bits, and that's a great take under intense pressure. And he was so secure there, they're trying to reef the ball out illegally. And that's a cheap penalty there from the wingman Wasile. But Mark Calderwood has done lots and lots of tidying up as well as contributing a lot with ball in hand.
Etu Wasile doesn't agree with that decision.
Tell him to watch the telly, Bill. That's all he needs to do. Watch the big screen.
It's one that's got England again out of their own red zone and put them on the attack. So Kimi Uasi, as we've seen, is on. Foliaki is the man he's replaced. Great ball from Crabtree. He's doing some damage now. Is Earl Crabtree, and a penalty again goes against Tonga. And that was just reckless from Lupini Paya. He claims there was an elbow, but Lupini Paya.
That's great work from Crabtree, isn't it, with the offload. But then they're just trying to play the ball quickly. As Jamie Jones Buchanan, I think it was just thrown to the ground after the tackle was completed.
Now you're going back to the old routine of the first half. Clean it up, that's when you use a symbol.
Well, Solomon Amono's got the message, whether that gets through to his players. The crowd don't like it here at the Holton Stadium. But it's England very much on the attack.
Yeah, they're up in the tempo. Big style England, they really are.
Crabtree is certainly one of the reasons they're up in the tempo. The words are there, they're just not coming out in the right order. And there's another penalty, and this time Richard Silverwood has had enough. And Sam Moa will go to the sin bin. And the Tongans are desperate just to stop the pace of this England side, because you get the feeling that as in the opening game of the competition, England could start to run away with this.
They could, and they're taking the right decision here. For that interference, they're going to tap the ball, keep the ball in play, keep the balls quick, and keep pushing up, putting them under pressure.
Graham Horne. Horne will take him on, just short of the try line. Jamie Jones Buchanan is there, and there's a knock on.
You lost the ball.
And Graham Horne disappointed, but you lost the ball. Was Richard Silverwood's blunt assessment of the situation. Well, that was frustrating for England.
Yeah, there's plenty of traffic around there, isn't there? But it's the ball carrier's responsibility when he hits the collision to look after it, and lots of bodies in there from Tonga, and they needed that because they looked out on the feet, Bill, and they're down to 12 men now.
Oh, and Tonga have lost the ball. That ball's come loose and the penalty goes against England. And Rob Purdham just querying that decision, but that is a pressure-relieving penalty for this Tongan side.
Yeah, it was Lee Smith, wasn't it, there?
Well, surely the same applies there. It's the ball carrier's responsibility.
No, but he reefed that. That was actually pulled out there, Bill, my word. It was a purposeful play at the ball there.
Purposeful, was it?
I think that's one word to describe it.
Well, Richard Silverwood really is keeping a very close grip on this game. He's barking out instructions. And Tonga, they're not done yet.
I tell you, Bill, this is a very important period for England. They don't want to get into a last 5-minute dogfight here with Tongans, the way they can lift. They do need to defend this set.
Well, they're heading for the touchline there. That's good defence from England. Calderwood doing well, and Jim Dimmock just a little bit frustrated there that again his side got themselves into a good position.
Yeah, did really well, Dick Calderwood there. Went in first of all to help Ryan Atkins, then peeled off that collision and took his wingman over the sideline. Look how he comes in to help, and then he just gets his wingman, puts him on the sideline with a bit of help from his mate Bailey. And that's super. I think he's had a great game, Calderwood. I really do.
I think Bailey's impact was important there. Hamono and Fosu have gone on. Moi Moi and Tupou on for the Tongans. So Fifi Moi Moi comes back to lend his considerable presence, and that's considerable presence is there, driving the man back. It's Peer as well. Lapini Peer was involved in the tackle. And there's lots of little niggle going on.
All England need to do, Bill, is keep playing quick, and a gap will appear because they're just throwing too many bodies in into the collision.
Graham Horne is struggling. Crabtree, long booming pass from Cook, finds Calderwood. Now Calderwood looking to take him on. There's some tired defenders out there. He's got support from Ashton. Ashton has support as well from Rooney. And that is a cracking try from this England side. And again, Calderwood involved. But the build-up and the passing and the understanding was there from England, and Jamie Rooney was there to finish off.
Yeah, they've just thrown too many players into the collision. That's a great pass, first of all, from Crabtree. But again, Paul Cook selects the correct pass, which he does so often. And this guy did tremendously well there. And the inside support there, first of all from Ashton, secondly from Rooney. And that's a try worthy of winning a competition. And I believe that's what it's done. Crabtree does really well. He isn't going to take the collisions. He'll shift it where the space is. That's what they did through Cook's hand, and then Calderwood, who had great presence of mind to look to the inside. There's Ashton on the inside, then he draws the full-back, and Rooney's got an easy run over for a very, very good try.
Fantastic try. Play 4, played on the right-hand side of the field. The go-to ball was straight to Calderwood. He's been outstanding. He's been world-class tonight. Everything he's done has been too hard for the Tongans to handle. He's been consistent and he's been persistent. He's been rewarded there.
Jamie Rooney, an immaculate performance from him as well. That's 5 from 5 now to add to his 6th try of this competition, and England now 30 points to 14 ahead. And with a grip on this game that might be hard to shake from a tiring Tongan side, and Earl Crabtree's return to the field has had a big part to play in that.
And that fella's not done so bad as well, Bill. But it's been a team performance, hasn't it? We must stress that. And they've really challenged this England team. But all credit to the England team that stood up to it. And they've answered back, and they are finishing the stronger.
We're fortunate here at the stadium to see a lot of the work in the back play, particularly Purdham marshalling the troops as a skipper has done a wonderful job. Cook, whenever there's been good ball, when there's been over breaks, opportunities like this, he's got his hands on the ball and made some very good decisions. And Rooney's been doing some tremendous amounts of talking to the group, making sure they're functioning and moving as a team.
Here's Earl Crabtree again.
It's that bit of footwork, you know. They're flying out to try and wallop Crabtree, and he's just put a bit of late footwork on him, and he's gone. Real top quality prop forward work.
He was a centre and a three-quarter, wasn't he, in the early days when he came to the game, I think.
It certainly was. That's a good kick again from Rooney. It's exactly the right type of kick at this stage of the game with that on the scoreboard. Quality play from dummy half there from Jamie Rooney. Put the ball over the sidelines, deep into the Tongan red zone, and say, with 30 points to 14 up, what are you going to do about it, fellas?
With 8 minutes to go, it's not going to be comeback time for Tonga, but you just do get the feeling out of the tournament. What a wonderful tournament it's been. We've seen some terrific talent from England really show their hand and show that they can play these great little competitions and play terrifically well. And Tonga, you've got to say they're winners as well, to come into this tournament and really throw everything they have at this final and every game they've been in. They're still powering away late in the game.
And just trying to offload that ball, and I think it's come up for the Tongans as well.
Yeah, it has. Great urgency on the ground there from Wasi. There's the offload there, and I think there's a British foot there, but then the first to react, the Tongan hooker.
Fufu Moimoi charging that ball forward. So popular in Sydney, they wrote a song about him. And Fufu Moimoi not liking that challenge from Crabtree. And this indiscipline is going to cost Tonga again.
Yeah, it's cost them heavily. And there's just no need for it, to tell the truth, Bill. You've got to let the referee the game. You might not agree with him, but that's what his job is.
I guess that's what experience is at international level. You see this there, yes, you're right, John, there's nothing in it. There's nothing requiring a punch thrown there in any way, shape or form. And that's the learning curve that Tonga will go through. They're in a final, learn to stick to football, stick to the big collisions being the impact. The other stuff's just a distraction.
I think Earl Crabtree was hard done by there, really. The reaction probably should have had the penalty reversed. So Tonga coming on. The touch judge is on the field though, because again,
Tyrone Smith in the background.
Little flare up.
Yeah, I'll tell you, he played the ball, he went at the England player, and what it will do, Tonga will be in possession, it'll turn the ball over to England with a penalty.
He's continued to chase Lee Smith, keep pushing him, and eventually pushes him
there
to
you
the
are.
ball.
He's played the ball and just taken him out of the game for no reason.
Time, that's the time. No. Part of the time. Where's 5? 5. You 5? Where's 5?
Richard Silverwood just trying to
Sir, time. It's not
establish the identity. He's losing his patience, I think, with these. He's done very well to keep his patience, because it must be a very difficult game to referee this.
You've heard it. You don't need any more, okay?
It doesn't look as though Tyrone Smith's going to take the message. And the penalty, as predicted, goes England's way.
Discipline. Discipline, boys.
And Richard Silverwood back to the line with the Tongan defenders, just saying discipline, boys, but I think he's fighting a losing battle there. And again, they come down that left-hand side. Calderwood takes possession, and Matteo has made sure that he felt that tackle. The crowd didn't like it, and England have just got to keep their heads now and see it out for the last 5 minutes here, because I think the Tongans are just getting a little bit frustrated. Oh, swinging arm from Tyrone Smith.
But this is good to spot the England players now. It will see if they can keep the composure at this level. When everything, including the kitchen sinks, being thrown at them, just keep your composure and ask them to look at the scoreboard.
And again, Richard Silverwood asks for the Tongan captain, and with Solomon Amono off the field,
we've got 4 minutes left. Okay, not afraid to send anybody off. Okay, calm down.
Well, that's fair enough. I'm surprised we've got to within 5 minutes of the final whistle for Richard Silverwood to say that. And it's just 2 in the sin bin, 3 in the sin bin. Rooney will take the tap, and England will look to wrap this one up with another try, maybe. Radford plays the ball. It's a loose pass, but it's picked up by Purdom well, and Rob Purdom just losing his footing. And another penalty, and they were charging in late there.
The tackle's completed as soon as a hand's lay on him, yes? It's for the flop. Lapini Paya there, he flopped on him after the tackle was completed. Purdom did a really good job picking the loose ball up. He went to ground, a hand was laid him, that's when the tackle's completed, and Payer came in and flopped, so they can't really expect anything else.
Well, there's
it completed, and there's the flop.
This is a disappointing finale for this Tongan side, because they've done really well to get to this Federation Shield final. Nobody was anticipating it's on again, and again there was a high challenge, and Fufu Moi Moi wants some of that, and there's an England player getting beaten up at the bottom of a scrum, and everybody's having a scrap, and Ryan Bailey having a go away on the far side, and Richard Silverwood could do with just blowing the final whistle.
Yes, a very disappointing end this.
Mark Calderwood having a little set to with Folletti Matteo.
And totally caused by one side, no doubt about it. Absolutely disgraceful discipline.
And the crowd not liking it either, and that was just vindictive from the Tongan side. And then Fufu Moi Moi deciding to take things into his own hands.
Well, you fear for your own safety when you're at the bottom of something like that. Jamie Jones Buchanan, and then Lee Ratford's there.
17.
And he's getting seconds.
17.
And
let's hope he does what he should have done perhaps 5 minutes ago.
well, I don't know, about 5 minutes ago, maybe a lot earlier in the proceedings. I think Samoa is going to see red. We've seen plenty of yellow. It is a red for Samoa. And he still wants some more. And the Tongan players. And Stuart Wilkinson, the Paul Cullen's assistant coach, is on the field there, and I think just telling his players just to take a step back. A calm head. Well, in a red-hot atmosphere.
Just kick for goal and take the minute and a half up doing that. That's the best thing that they could do.
And Lee Radford, I think, might get a talking to here, because the judge and jury are still sitting out there.
You know, there's not much more that man could have done. He's put two players in the sin bin, and a couple of times there.
Player is in the sin bin.
No, you'll go off as well.
And it's Solomon Omono, the captain.
You know, he wasn't on the field.
Now, whether
that's an amazing decision.
To the field of play.
You're the captain?
I think he came onto the field of play when he was from the sideline. But that would certainly will be a talking point.
He's off the field and he's come running on and got involved.
Well, there you hear from Richard Silverwood.
Penalty to England.
Tonga captain Solomon Omono, who I think was poised to come on the field by the look of things. He was holding his substitute's number.
And then he's got involved in this. And so he's left with no option.
And still the Tongan players are looking for some action. And once more the touch judge is on. And this is just turning into an absolute farce.
Well, that might be the reason they don't play at the very best level.
And they've not won any friends. They've won plenty of admirers getting to this final, but I'm afraid that they've done themselves a big disfavour in the last 5 minutes here. And Jamie Rooney sensibly will kick for the 2 points. The hooter has in fact sounded, and let's just hope that these players leave the field sensibly now. But the blood is pumping as Rooney kicks the penalty. Richard Silverwood signals the end of the game, and let's hope it is handshakes at this point and nothing more than that. A pumped-up Tongan side. They've just got a little bit over the top there. Well, thankfully, it's calmed down. Jim Dimmock's side have acquitted themselves well in this competition. Surprised everybody getting to the final, but a really physical battling performance from them, at times too physical, and a bit too much battle has spilled over. Dismissal of 2 players at the end, including captain Solomon Omono. And England have weathered the storm. They've done well, they've kept their heads.
Well, Paul, I'll ask you about the good things in the victory in just a moment, but what on earth did you make of the scenes at the end there?
Well, disappointing that the discipline didn't hold from one of the sides. I think, to be fair, we've done very well to ride the cheap shots all afternoon and let the class come to the fore. So, but pleased. We knew they were going to have energy bursts throughout this game at some point, and we've done very, very well to hold our nerve and composure. Played some good football on the back of it, but international football these days, you've got to be able to take the punch on the chin, haven't you? And I think these young lads have shown that they can take it, they can handle it, and they can play some good football as well.
As you said, you scored some very good tries in the second half in the end there.
We did, you know, we a little bit disappointed. We put the ball on the floor on about the 20-minute mark and just allowed them back into the game. The first 20 was all ours. To be fair, it was almost a little bit too easy. But I think this England side's played better during games when we've been under a little bit of pressure and other teams have had a go. So, but they can take it. Doesn't matter what they throw at us, we can take it.
We talked before the tournament started about the learning curve, both for you as a coach and for the players. Do you feel that's just as important as winning the tournament itself?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, the win is very important. Have no danger about that whatsoever. No doubt about that. But they played some good football defensively. They've had to muscle up to a big physical side today, and you know the discipline and the team camaraderie had to be there because we knew they were going to start hitting heads, and you know, on cue they did it.
Well done, Paul. Let's bring your captain in, Rob Purdom. Paul's been talking about how tough it was out there physically, Rob. I mean, you're as good a man to ask as any. How physically tough was it out there today?
Oh, very. It was probably one of the toughest games I've played in. The real big boys, and they run hard and they want to hit hard as well. And I'm just proud of our boys, the English boys, just standing up and taking it and not retaliating. Yeah,
a lot of their tackles did cross the line of legality. How tough was it to keep your discipline and not get involved in that?
Oh, it's something we talked about before the game. They hit high, and some of them do go high. So. It's something we talked about, and I'm just proud of our boys for keeping the cool.
What's been the most pleasing aspect of the whole tournament? You played 4-1-4.
Yeah, definitely. That was our goal. I don't think we've played. This was probably our best game out of the four, coming to the final, and just so proud of the boys.
Thanks, Rob. Well done.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
So Tongan disconsolate, I guess they fought valiantly throughout the tournament. They were beaten a couple of weeks ago by England, and Solomon Hamono, one of the players sent off wrongly or rightly there at the end of the match. So a disappointing end to what has been a thoroughly enjoyable tournament, and Tonga did very well to make it through to the final, but England beat them 2 weeks ago, and again today England have reigned supreme. Tonga right into the match until about 20 minutes to go, and they, I guess, got a little bit fatigued, threw the script out the window, and as you saw, frustration boiled over into a number of outbreaks. So a disappointing end to a game which pretty much had it all. No question whatsoever there as Jim Mills, a household name in these parts of the world, a former international prop forward, with Ian Edwards, the RFL non-executive director, giving out the runners-up trophy for this, the inaugural Federation Shield final. No question at all, a lot of talents in the Tongan outfits, and we saw that Tony Ray, some of the Parramatta connection, Fui Moi Moi, and Folletti Matteo as well. A lot of talent, Jim Dimmick as well at the helm. But unfortunately at the end there, I guess they've let themselves down just a touch.
Yeah, as long as they learn from that, Chris. I know I don't want to push away from the fact that they'll be disappointed in that, and they just need to come onto this stage and realise that, you know, more than anything, not only they let themselves down with discipline, they let themselves down with any chance of coming back into this game with their errors. You know, they're more talented than that. If they focus and concentrate with that same energy and that same killer instinct at times that they do show, that same passion for each other, if they applied that to their football game, then they actually could really improve themselves quite dramatically. And there's the challenge for Jim Dimmick, but these guys did a terrific job in just making sure that they kept their heads down. And
I thought Mark Calderwood throughout, John, was not just tonight but throughout the tournament was outstanding.
Yeah, he's a quality rugby league player, and I think he's demonstrating more and more that he's a quality international rugby league player. He did have a disappointing first half of the season at Wigan, but as Wigan were reborn under Brian Noble, his form improved, and I think his fitness got better, because he did have a niggling injury at the start, but then he finished the season so well, and I thought he really did look an international quality player out there today.
Talking of international quality, you must be very impressed and proud. There's Paul Cullen, 4 from 4 as England coach, and Rob Purdom from Harlequins. He's done a tremendous job as well, captaining his country and his side to the very first Federation Shield final, holding aloft the shield, and England's name will be the first inscribed on that shield. Tony, a proud moment for Rob Purdom, who this week, I believe, announced his engagement as well.
Yeah, he's had a terrific month. He's led them very well, played well, came up with a good play the opening try, was involved in the next try, kept toiling away. He's a tough player. We're going to see a lot more of him on the rep stage. We're going to see big things from him because he's coming up with doing the little things well in the game as well and come up with the big plays. And there's no question, as the tournament's gone through, these guys have been the best team. One thing coming out of this game, there's going to be a lot of talk about the discipline. It'll be a distraction from some fantastic tries. You think about the tries that England scored, going the length, under pressure, having defended their line, kept themselves in good shape, and you can see why, because they've got tremendous spirit amongst this group of young men that are, that are really leading the way for the talent of England. There's plenty underneath them as well.
Time for England to celebrate. There they are, enjoying their moment in the spotlight. Disappointing for Tonga. Let's now hear from their coach, Jim Dimmick. He is with Rod Stubb.
Jim, your side did a lot of good things out there, but I think a lot of people will leave the ground talking about what happened in the end when you had 2 players sent off. What was your view of it?
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed at the end. I thought the game, was a great game between the two sides. It's been a great competition, the Federation Cup. I was a bit sad the way it finished.
Is the discipline something you're going to have to work on? You had, I think, 3 sin bin, 2 sent off and conceded 17 penalties.
Yeah, it just shows how much passion the Tongans have for their country. It's a bit of pride there, but they've got to use a bit of smarts sometimes too.
On the positive note, there were times in that game when you looked capable of winning it early in the second half. Did you ever feel you were capable of going on and winning the game? Oh,
definitely. Every game I play, the boys play, we think we're going to win. It's pretty hard. The first half we, wanted to pump a lot, so it took a lot out of our tank. So if we just build pressure, I think the boys will, can put on a better performance.
Paul Cullen's been talking about England learning during this tournament, his players learning. I guess that's tenfold for your lads, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. Back in Tonga, there's untapped talent there, so hopefully this will inspire some young kids to come play for Tonga.
Thanks for your time, Jim.
Thank you very much.
Jim Dimmick there, he's doing a fantastic job in his role of international coach there for Tonga. Of course, he was with the Sydney Roosters this year, formerly of London Broncos, but it is a night for England. They hold that shield. They're very, very proud of their achievements, and well they should be, as should Paul Cullen. His first time in charge of England, and he couldn't ask for more. 4 from 4, beating Tonga twice, and an all-important Federation Shield final for him. Reflecting back to Jim Dimmick, the Tonga coach there, he was disappointed. He's done a fine job so far, and I guess it's all about preparing the South Pacific Islanders also for the World Cup in 2008.
Yeah, that's the interview there. He knows. He knew exactly what had gone on. He was disappointed. They've obviously been in a hotel for a month. They're a very proud bunch of guys that have got a lot of brotherhood out of it, and they've confused, the pride with Tonga with some of the footballing stuff you've got to do. And I think Jim can see in him, he thought they had a chance at the game and they let themselves go from it.
You must be very happy, Jamie Rooney. 50 points across the tournament.
Yeah, it's just a points machine, isn't it? Again, it contributed at vital times, and I thought his goal kicking when England were under the pump, that was the difference at 18 points to 14. There'd been 3 tries apiece, so it can feel very happy with his contribution throughout this tournament.
So an emotion-fuelled end and disappointing in some respects to what's been a tremendous first Federation Shield. England, though, victorious, 32 points to 14, 5 tries to 3. Purdom, Ferrers, Calderwood, Hodgson and Rooney their try scorers. Rooney 6 from 6 and 52 points scored across the tournament. Tuiaki, Matteo and Smith the try scorers. Matteo with 1 goal, 32 points to 14. England hold aloft the Federation Shield in its very first year. On the other side of the world, the Tri-Nations action reaches its climax this weekend. Australia take on Great Britain. The Brits simply must draw or beat the Aussies to make it through to the Tri-Nations final. See all the action there, 9:30 a.m. this Saturday on Sky Sports 2. And then the big one, from Brisbane down to Sydney. The Aussies are there. Who will they play? Will it be Great Britain, or will it be New Zealand? You can see all the action there live Saturday, November the 25th, 8:30 a.m. on Sky Sports 2. From now, though, from Holton Stadium in Widnes, from all of us, it's goodbye.